Hey, what's up? Serpentine here, taking a look at the multiplayer of the Cop v Robber first-person shooter Battlefield Hardline, developed by Visceral Games, the same developers behind the Dead Space franchise. Hardline takes the typical large-scale Battlefield multiplayer that has been seen since Battlefield 3 and adds a police vs criminal element to it. The game still plays and feels very much the same as its other two predecessors, with only small changes here and there. The largest and most noticeable change is the absence of military-grade hardware. Tanks, attack helicopters, jets, and to a certain extent, armoured personnel carriers are no longer available in your vehicle arsenal. Instead, the game now allows players to hang outside of vehicle windows and start shooting stuff up. While it's not really as effective as a tank shell, it is pretty fun to do nonetheless. There are still mounted machine guns available on the SUVs as well as on the sides of mobile transport trucks and helicopters. The attack helicopter isn't completely left out either, however its weaponry has taken a slight hit, with only 2 machine guns available with no military grade rockets or missiles. As for the soldiers, or I guess the cops and robbers, there hasn't been much added or taken away. All the weapons are still basically military grade weapons with military scopes, muzzles, grips and other add-ons. The roles are still basically the same with an assault, support, engineer and recon, only they have been renamed to operator, enforcer, engineer and professional. Things like claymores, UAVs and landmines have all been replaced by more consumer grade equipment that essentially acts in the same way. Some new game changing equipment has been added however in the form of grappling hooks and zip lines, with the grappling hook allowing you to get on top of buildings, and the zipline helping you to move over gaps or just to get somewhere a little bit quicker. RPGs, stingers and heavy machine guns have all been removed from players' loadouts and are instead found at set spawn points around the map or in the boot of your car, so everyone has access to them. The maps have been affected too by the absence of military equipment, with destruction being almost completely removed apart from doors being blown off their hinges and wood fences being knocked down. Something that the Battlefield series has been doing in spectacular fashion the last couple of years seems a bit strange to be removed from the game now. There are still some Levolution elements to some of the maps available though, including bridges being collapsed to dedicated walls being C4able and being able to lock down certain rooms with indestructible doors. There are a couple of new game modes being thrown into the mix alongside Battlefield classics like Conquest and Team Deathmatch. We've already been introduced to Blood Money that was available last beta phase, but 2 more have been revealed. Heist is a game mode where the police are attempting to stop the criminals from stealing valuables and transporting them to designated pickup areas. The other mode available to play is Hotwire, a vehicle-based mode where either team can capture cars and drive them around the map for points. This game mode was actually quite a bit of fun, with players hanging out of car windows, taking shots at enemy vehicles, or just setting up roadblocks to stop the hot-wired cars. The game mode would have been even better if vehicle physics were a little bit more polished than they currently are, a problem that has plagued the Battlefield series ever since transitioning onto the Frostbite 3 engine, but it has found some rather interesting wall-sticking bugs in Hardline. There are 2 other interesting game modes that have been revealed but haven't been playable in Rescue and Crosshair. Touted as the 2 main competitive modes, Rescue will be a hostage situation where the police are tasked with getting the hostages out safely, and Crosshair will have the police trying to protect a player-controlled VIP while the criminals attempt to eliminate them. Apart from the new game modes, a new role of sorts has also been introduced called the Hacker. This is Hardline's answer to the long-requested rebirth of Battlefield's Commander mode. Being the hacker in the game allows you to hack into numerous elements around the map like cameras, power grids and smoke producers. These all act as a short-range motion detector that shows your teammates on the ground where the enemy is. You can also issue orders for squads to go to certain places or objectives. Whether they listen to you though is another thing. You can also give out small upgrades to squads, which are things like 1 more grenade or the addition of flak armor, and depends on the class you're currently playing. The most powerful weapon in your hacking arsenal, however, is the Scanner and Jammer. The Scanner allows you to highlight enemies in a certain area, while the Radar Jammer disables the enemy's ability to tag players on your team in a certain area. At the moment, the Hacker is an extremely fast way to earn in-game money, so if you want to unlock a certain something that's a bit expensive, hopping into the Hacker's seat isn't a bad idea. As for additional features, in the game as usual there is a massive amount of statistics available to you via both the end of game screen and at the Battlefield Hardline website. The battle pack system is back too, but it has got under some nice changes and will no longer be dishing out unwanted weapon specific scopes. Instead, you unlock tokens that are scope specific but not weapon specific and can be used on any weapon to unlock that scope for. The battle packs are still purchasable, but they do randomly drop as well. Altogether, I honestly think Hardline should have been made its own IP instead of riding on the Battlefield branding. Given the chance to make their own multiplayer modes without having to conform to Battlefield's player sizes and game modes, could have made something really interesting and unique. I have a feeling that Hardline will be the return of a good single player first person shooter campaign, however the multiplayer is still a copy and paste of Battlefield 4 or even Battlefield 3, with slight changes here and there on both the good and bad sides, the absence of military hardware being the biggest difference. While the multiplayer is still a great amount of fun, it is still just Battlefield. I'd also have liked to have seen at least one of the competitive modes during this beta phase, especially the 5v5 crosshair mode, as this is where the game's multiplayer uniqueness was most likely to shine. Anyway, that's been my player preview for Battlefield Hardline. The game will be officially releasing on March 19th. If you want to find out more about the game, check out the links below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.